What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here, bringing you some more Series 9 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. We're finishing off the month once again using Ikari's team from the Global Challenge, and hopefully we can finish strong. I know yesterday wasn't the best, but I do have high hopes about today. So looking at my opponent's team, it's Incineroar, Blastoise, with Bronzong, Amoonguss, Sylveon, and Porygon 2. I feel like Torkoal is really big here, but it will depend on if we can get up that Trick Room because of the fact that Amoonguss is a pretty big threat. I also think that Glastrier does really well for the similar reason, but like I said, it really is dependent on what my opponent does. Yeah, this is tricky though because Tapu Lele doesn't have Shadow Ball, but I do like Lele Porygon with Glastrier and Torkoal, right? Because Incineroar makes it so I don't really want to bring Pheromosa, and then Dragapult's not the best if we get up the Trick Room, but Lele stops a Fake Out. It can also get big damage to prevent that Blastoise from getting set up. And then, yeah, I think the big thing is, can we set up this Trick Room? We also do have Ally Switch on Porygon, which I think can theoretically help us out against this Amoonguss, and the fact that we can try and avoid a Spore and then get some big damage off. It is, though, a little bit tricky, the fact that we don't really have a good way to deal with it, and if we don't set up Trick Room, it is just going to be able to put a lot of things to sleep. Okay, so we are going to see that Blastoise Amoonguss. So my immediate thought is you are going to try and set up a Spore onto Porygon, right? You're going to try and get as much damage as you can. I mean, not get as much damage as you can. You're trying to set up Blastoise because what? If they rage, they could Rage Powder. I'm going to go for a Psychic for sure onto Amoonguss, and then this is tricky because if they Rage Powder, we're in good shape, but if they Spore, we're not. But I also can't really let that Blastoise get set up. I'm going to Psychic into Blastoise and try and set up the Trick Room. I want to stop Blastoise from getting damage. Oh, okay, so we're going to see a switch, probably into Porygon 2. Oh, interesting. So we're going to see the switch into Incineroar, which is pretty fine. I'm guessing we do get the... Okay, so they're going to max, which is going to let them get off the max Cannonade, but I don't think that should be enough to take out Porygon 2. I am kind of hoping. Luckily, even if they do take out Porygon 2, we do have Tapu Lele. So I think we're pretty much, I don't want to say pretty much guaranteed a good spot, but we are guaranteed a lot of damage. This Psychic does about, 40%? And then this Cannonade probably into Tapu Lele. So that's actually a really interesting choice. We do manage to get the Trick Room off, but the question now is how do we get in Glastrier safely? Because I don't think that this Cannonade should finish off Tapu Lele. 35 down to 11. But even still, Tapu Lele is going to go down next turn. I think we continue to put on pressure onto this Blastoise and then just try and get some Incin's not real. Actually, Incin is a little scary. So let's try and spread our damage in the event that they try and go for something like a parting shot, I guess. But it's still not that big a deal. We do obviously have to worry about the Intimidate cycle. And so I'm hoping, like I said, just to spread things out. And also, we can't touch Incin with Psychic as a result of it being dark and the fact that we're locked in. So we do need to at least pick pick some of our damage into Blastoise. But I think if we can get Glastrier in safely, we are in a really good spot because we know... Okay, so they are going to withdraw Incin, and they are going to bring out that Amoonguss, which is actually really good. Not necessarily really good. It still is actually really tricky because of the fact that they can easily just pivot from Amoonguss into Incineroar. we are going to see another Cannonade come out. I'm guessing into, yep, okay, into Porygon 2. So we are going to be able to keep chipping away at this Blastoise to the fact where, honestly, I think instead of Glastrier, we bring out Torkoal, which sounds really weird because there's a Blastoise, but I think the fact that we can deal with Blastoise so easily, I would rather have Torkoal come out so we can basically make it so Incineroar can't cycle Intimidates. So we get Torkoal out, but this is, we don't have too many turns left of Trick Room, right? We have, this is turn 3, yeah. So I think an Eruption is the safest option, and then I could recover. I'm going to try attack onto Blastoise just in the event that Eruption isn't enough. We are going to see the swap out most likely into Incineroar. Yep, makes sense. And now we can go for the double up onto Blastoise, which should finish it off. The risk right now, though, is we are getting pretty low on health on the Porygon 2, but we can pretty easily recover it because of the fact that there still is the terrain up. We did nice pick up the knockout with the Torkoal, so we are going to be able to get this Tri-Attack off to connect and do, like I said, just whittling away at Incin. Not nearly as much as I liked, but I mean, it is what it is. We do manage to survive. Porygon will be able to, this next turn, recover pretty easily because we don't have to worry about that, what's it called, that fake out. So we can once again click Eruption here and go for the recover with Porygon 2. And hopefully, yeah, the tricky thing though is, oh, they're not going to protect a oh, if Amoonguss is Scarf though, that's actually really bad for a, or not Scarf, Sash, which as we're seeing it is, because now, oh, yeah, it's going to be able to Spore something. We're going to see the Spore into the Torkoal, which I don't necessarily think is the worst position in the world, due to the fact that if Trick Room ends, Porygon's going to be able to outspeed and knock out Amoonguss. And I think once Amoonguss is gone, we should be in a good position. Incineroar we're seeing is, that's actually it's a little bit scary, given how much that Flare Blitz did. We are going to see us live, so they can, yeah. So now it really comes down to when does this Torkoal wake up? No. Recover, because the thing is, if I bring out Glastrier, they can so easily just go for a Spore onto it, and we can't really stop that. And now, yeah, they're gonna take out my Porygon, and then they are going to be able to, okay, so they have Darkest Lariat, which is very good to know. And that's going to do a pretty sizable chunk onto Torkoal. So we're forced to bring out Incineroar, unfortunately, I mean, not Incineroar, we're forced to bring out the Glastrier, and yeah, they can really easily just double up in, or not double up into, so yeah, we can Eruption with Torkoal, and then probably high horsepower, the Incineroar, because the issue is we're Assault Vest, so they can really easily just Flare Blitz. They will take a ton of damage to the point where I think it really depends on what turn does Torkoal wake up. Because if Torkoal wakes up this turn, we're in a pretty good position because we'll get rid of Amoonguss, and if Incin Flare Blitz into Glastrier and Glastrier lives, we are okay. But obviously we still haven't seen what my opponent has in the back, so that, I mean, that doesn't help at all. Which we're about to see, which makes sense to cycle the Intimidate onto Glastrier, and it is Bronzong. So waking up and getting an Eruption off this turn would be incredible. So let's see, do we get Yeah, this sleep turn is huge. Yeah, that's... Oh, okay, so we do wake up, which is great. We are going to be able to knock out the Amoonguss and do over half on a Bronzong. And I think what that means is we can probably max Torkoal? Can we max Torkoal? I think we can. How much HP does Torkoal have? Because what I'm thinking is we can go for the max flare onto Bronzong. It is a little low. I think, though, I have to max flare onto... I have to max flare onto Bronzong and then go for a high horsepower onto Ensign. Or I could just go for a close combat onto Ensign. I don't want to risk going for any sort of accuracy misses. This is, I think, a little bit of a weird situation. But I think what, you're gonna body press into Torkoal and go for a Flare Blitz into Glastrier. You also could, I mean, you could double up into Torkoal, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I could have protected, which I don't want to let it get set up. They're gonna fake out into Torkoal, so I'm glad that I went for the max, and we're gonna see, oh, an Iron Head into Glastrier. Glastrier takes that super well. And we get a wake, but we do get the flinch onto Glastrier. But I think given the fact that we were able to wake up, we know that Incineroar cannot go for anything that's going to hit both of us. So I feel comfortable. I don't want to say feel comfortable wrapping things up because Incineroar still is faster, but we do have a double up into it. And I think a combination of Max Quake and Close Combat, even at -1, should kind of seal it, right? Okay, so we are going to see Flare Blitz into Glastrier, which is going to lower Incineroar's health pretty substantially, right? Yeah, to the point where I'm not worried about this Max Quake finishing it off, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be overly zealous. Yeah, there's no question. So good start, I think. Yeah, given especially yesterday where it felt like there were a lot of games where I misplayed, having the ability to come strong today and like really push through, and definitely a little bit of a tricky match. And like I said, it really came down to sleep turns. It came down to the fact that Torkoal was able to wake up on the turn that Bronzong switched in. I think if I had been asleep that turn, the game pretty much would have been over because we were able to get that much chip damage onto it and then get rid of the Amoonguss, which was definitely the most important part. But yeah, good start, and let's just keep rocking and move right to game number 2. All right, game number 2, it is Tapu Fini, Torkoal, Venusaur with Landorus. You have Dragapult and Colossal. This is tricky. I mean, I think it really depends on what item Colossal has. Because of the fact, I mean, not Colossal, what item Dragapult has. Because we could lead Dragapult. What I'm thinking is that old school Dragapult with Pheromosa, because we know that Venusaur cannot stop both. Torkoal is only useful against Venusaur, but kind of useless. Porygon 2, I think, is a nice option just to have. And then I mean, I could bring No, Glastrier is hard with Torkoal. Lele just gets a lot of damage, and I think just kind of having that pressure is nice. So I'm going to bring these 4. I think probably a little bit questionable in terms of, is this the right choice? But let's see. I think it really depends on my opponent's leads, because Torkoal Venusaur is scary, but so is the Dragapult Colossal, and playing around whatever they choose is going to be hard. Okay, so they're going to lead with Dragapult Colossal, and now, like I said, the question is, are you going to be max speed Dragapult? Because what I could easily do is I easily could Phantom Force into their Dragapult and then Close Combat into Colossal, which I think it should pick up the knockout. But if they are, yeah, the fear is if they're Scarfed, or if they're max speed and it's a speed tie. I think this is a really a really high risk, high reward play. Because what I'm saying is, okay, if you have like safety goggles on Dragapult, we knock you out with Phantasm, we get the defense drop onto you, and then hopefully Pheromosa's close combat will be able to finish you off. But even if we don't, if we can prevent the steam engine from going off, I think that that also puts us in a good position because you only knock out one thing and then whatever you don't, we can finish off. Yep. Okay, so we are going to see the max Colossal. The big fear is max speed Dragapult, or like I said, if the Dragapult has a choice scarf. Even then, I mean, it could have. I don't think they run Focus Sash on Dragapult. I don't think that makes too much sense. So we are going to see. Okay, so we are first, which is a big deal, onto their Dragapult, and we pick up the knockout, which is huge. The obvious fear though is if this close combat doesn't pick up the knockout. But even then, it's not necessarily the worst position. Close combat's going to do in the red, which is tricky. They do get the proc on the policy, but then it comes down to what are they targeting with Colossal. We're going to see the Volclith come out probably into Dragapult. Oh, into Pheromosa. So that's actually a pretty okay spot to be in, because we know that they don't have the boost, so we know that Colossal slow as dirt, so we can honestly bring out Lele at this point. I think Lele is a good option. We can even do something like an Airstream and then do a spread move in the event that they have Venusaur in the back, right? Yeah, so we're going to go with Lele. And now let's see what they have in the back for it. They're going to send out their own Tapu Fini. Okay, so that's fine. I think that makes a lot of sense because you're trying to... I can... Yeah, this is just hard because Dragapult's not the most bulky thing around, but it is maxed. So what I'm thinking is we Phantasm the Colossal to get the defense drop and then go for a Psyshock onto Fini with Lele, which takes advantage of the fact that very smart. That was a really big protect on my opponent. Yikes, because now how much does this do from Lele onto Fini? It does over half. So if we live... Oh. Okay, sorry, I was speechless at seeing an Iron Defense on Tapu Fini, which, I mean, I think works in this scenario. I kind of want to double up onto Fini as a result. I mean, I would need the double up. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to actually switch it, because I know for a fact that Colossal can protect... If Fini protects this turn, we can guarantee that we can at least get the defense drop. We do lower Fini's defense, so it is only at +1, which means another Psyshock will finish it off. And now I'm hoping that Lele Psyshock will be able to finish off Colossal. Yep, okay, so we are going to see what my opponent's fourth is. Luckily, there is no Sun out, so if it is something like that... Wow, this is a weird set. And yikes, they recovered a lot of HP. Okay, so if it's Venusaur, there is no Sun, so they don't get a speed boost, and we can pretty comfortably go for something like a Phantom Force into Tapu Fini. So even if they choose to protect this next turn, we're in a good position. So let's see what my opponent has in the back. Oh, okay, so they have Torkoal, which is tricky. I do expect my opponent to go for another Draining Kiss onto Dragapult. So I still think the best play is to Phantom Force the Fini and then Psyshock. I want to Psyshock the Torkoal to try and reduce... Yeah, because I want to try and reduce the amount of damage Eruption will do. That was a very smart protect on their part. And let's see, we do get off the Phantom Force. The question now is, where are you targeting with Tapu Fini? We are going to see, yep, we're going to hit into you with that. And then this Fini is going to go for another Iron Defense. They are getting, I think I do have to. God, Volcalith is really, really causing some problems. I think if I had targeted into Fini that turn, things would have been, oh wow, yeah, Fini's almost back to full. This is a really, I think I have to switch out. I'm going to switch out to Porygon because of the fact that because Fini now has just so much defense that I want to be able to hit it from the special side, and I obviously can't do that with Specs Lele, so I'm trying to basically reset and get to that point. We do get a special attack boost on, oh yeah, like look at how little that did. And yep, they're going to Draining Kiss into Dragapult and finish me off. The issue though is now I've given this Torkoal essentially a free Eruption that I can't really do anything about. So they are going to be able to get off. Oh, they go for a Heat Wave, which is fine. Torkoal or Porygon from 192 over half, and there's the fact that so we're going to reset the terrain to Psychic Terrain, and so I think we can just go for a Psychic onto this Tapu Fini to try and drop its defense as much as, or special defense as much as possible. And then what we could, I don't like leaving Torkoal just like sitting there. So I want to get some damage onto it. I think this is a risky play. I think spreading the damage could cost me. We're going to Psychic into Fini or we're just going to one-shot the Fini. I still don't think it's over because of the fact that they can so easily just go for a big Heat Wave. We are going to do about half onto Torkoal. We know that Porygon should live this. Lele does not, unfortunately, but we don't have a recovery item on the Torkoal. So I think this Tri-Attack should be able to finish it off. We luckily are faster. So Tri-Attack does connect, and Tri-Attack will pick up the knockout. Nice. Definitely, yeah, that one was terrifying. That Fini, when I started Iron Defensing, I honestly didn't know how I was going to be able to beat that, especially because I'd been locked in, and luckily we did have Porygon in the back, and the fact that what's it called? It was bulky, and the fact that Lele it hits so hard with the Psychic Terrain, the Psychic Stab, and the fact that its Specs was able to deal with that Fini. Otherwise, I think would have been really out of control. But we're doing really great, and we got one more battle in the season, and hopefully we can finish strong. And yeah, with that, I'll see all of you in the next game. All right, game number 3, and this is an interesting team. It is Cinderace with what's it called? Azumarill, Klefki, Latias, a Tapu Koko, and Salamence. What is Dragapult's speed? Okay, so Dragapult's faster than both of my leads are faster than Tapu Koko. So this is actually a really safe option. They can't really do much to it because I think, yeah, the combination of Phantom Force and Triple Axler Close Combat honestly deals with this entire team really well. I think Porygon being able to pivot to Trick Room is really valuable with Glastrier, because Glastrier also, other than Cinderace, can hit for super effective, or Cinderace and Tapu Koko. Oh no, Tapu Koko as well. Yeah, so Cinderace can hit, Glastrier can hit everything for super effective. So I think this combination is probably the best, but I think the Phantasm with Dragapult and then using Pheromosa to finish off kind of whatever with the defense drop is really going to be a good option, because they don't have anything. Stopping that Latias from setting up Tailwind is going to be huge, because I can't really let my opponent outspeed me. But we do have Trick Room. The fear though is Cinderace. Like Cinderace with a Tailwind can just do so much damage that I can't really catch up with. So we're going to see Klefki Azumarill. I don't actually know much about Klefki. I could Phantasm the Klefki and close combat it. Yeah, I mean, what, Azumarill, if Azumarill is huge power, that's the fear. Where is... Oh, Klefki's Prankster. Klefki is Prankster with screens, as I say, looking it up. So the fear obviously is something like a Reflect, and then they are able to live. But as far as I know, Azumarill should only be able to single target. Obviously, I think the huge power makes more sense in this scenario. So if they target into Dragapult, what? If they target into Pheromosa, I'm good, because that means that we'll go down to our Focus Sash. So that's actually what I need. I need them to pick Pheromosa as the bigger target. I honestly, if I had been smart, I should have not maxed and I should have Will-O-Wisped, because then I would have stopped their damage input or damage output to a much greater degree. So we are going to see, yep, we're going to see that Reflect. So definitely, yeah, I think a passive lead would have been the better option, because then we could have easily set up for the later game. But we still do get big damage. We get over half, and if we can get the close combat off, I think we'll be in a really good spot. The important thing, though, is where are they going to target with that Azumarill? If they target into Pheromosa, I think we'll be in a really good spot overall, because then we do still have Dragapult around, but either way, we do have Pheromosa with the Beast Boost. The thing, though, is we can't really damage that Azumarill, but we are going to see the Starfall into Pheromosa. Nice. Okay, that's actually really good, because I don't think they have good priority on their team, and so we are going to be able to have Pheromosa stick around for one more turn. We can definitely go for another sort of combination of Phantasm and close combat or big damage. If they have a dragon, we can go for something like what is it called? Triple Axle. So okay, so they're gonna bring out Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is fast and scary, but we are faster and scarier. The issue, though, is we would need to set up, honestly. I still think a Phantasm, into Azumarill, and then we can triple Axle into the Koko. And it's just about trying to spread out that damage. We will have Koko at -1 behind a Reflect, but we will have Pheromosa at +1, and we should still outspeed. And so what I'm hoping is if we can just try and get some really big damage. The fear, though, is they can pretty easily pick up a double knockout. Onto Azumarill, we're going to get not as much as I would have liked, but I think if for some reason Dragapult survives another turn, we should be able to finish off that Azumarill, but I don't really see that happening. Triple Axle does connect. Okay, so I don't know why. I don't know how Triple Axle works. Do they, what is it called? Do you re-roll your chances to miss every turn? Because I feel like I saw it consistently hit 3 times in a row, and now it's been hitting once, and I don't really know why it's doing that. Okay, so they're going to bring out Cinderace, and this is actually really, this is bad, to say the least. They're going to Starfall into Dragapult, and Dragapult should go down. Yeah. Dragapult's going to go down, but what is the silver lining? The silver lining here is we get a free switch into Porygon, but they still have a turn of max. Yeah, Glastrier can't max. I think, honestly, this is actually going to really depend on if they hit with, what's it called? With Pyro Ball. So what I could do is I could I could ally switch. Yeah, I'm gonna get the attack raise. I'm gonna go for an ally switch on Porygon and a high horsepower onto Cinderace. Because if we can get rid of Cinderace, I feel slightly better, especially if we finish off a Azumarill's max. So we are going to get the ally switch to let... oh, we're going to see the high jump kick. Oh, where is that going? Please go into Porygon. Oh. Yep. Well, that's the game for sure. They're going to get a strong Steel Spike. Yeah. I definitely... What? I should have burned... I should have not maxed. I should have gotten off a burn onto their Azumarill turn 1. And then just tried to get damage onto their Klefki using Pheromosa. I mean, they could still miss. Yeah, because I think if we had burned the Azumarill, even with huge power, I think we could have had a scenario where we lived. But now I'm playing catch up against a hyper offensive team, and I just took too much damage. So yeah, the burn would have been good because Sap Sipper wouldn't have stopped it, and neither would have huge power. So we would have been able to really prevent that. We would have had Pheromosa live, and then I think the subsequent turn would have made more sense to max. And honestly, I think doubling up into Klefki was also a bad decision because what? It was going to get a Reflect Up, and then it really wasn't going to do much. And this Porygon is going to live. We are going to get the defense drop, which I think, yeah, should seal it for us unless there's just a lot of misses. And yeah, that's not even going to finish it off. Oh well, I think it was a good month. I'm glad that today's record was better than yesterday, even if we do end on a loss. But I think, yeah, we should have played a little bit more passively in that lead. I was like, oh, let's just knock down a bunch of stats and then try and be overly eager. And going for something like a Will-O-Wisp would have been huge. So let's see their team. They have Life Orb, Cinderace. Oh wow, a little bit bulkier than most. I don't know if you're trying to hit anything in particular with Gunk Shot and U-Turn, which is not something you see every day. Very bulky Azumarill with Steel Roller, so this thing was supposed to just be your main max option. Prankster, Klefki. Foul Play, Reflect, Thunderwave, Light Screen. So I mean, the Thunderwave was definitely a fear if we had let it stick around. Also the Foul Play into a team that's so physical, that definitely would have hurt against Dragapult. But I do think that Will-O-Wisp would have been a really good choice overall. And I was so worried about Latias having Tailwind, and this Latias doesn't, which definitely cost me. Max HP, max attack, Tapu Koko. Yeah, this team was very physical. Using Dragapult for Will-O-Wisps as opposed to damage, I think would have really put me in a better position. And then even maybe leaning towards, setting up Trick Room, I think a little bit more aggressively would have been the right call. Oh, it's banded. Wow, I didn't even see that. Assault Vest on Salamence, and then we're back to Cinderace. Cool. So good month. I think we played some really cool teams and had some fun with it. And yeah, I'll see all of you next month with a new team. And until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.